Live. Welcome to my live stream number 12 of Write With Me, where I'm working on the next book in my Maui Desire Series, Golden Dusk at Makena. I did quite a bit of writing over the weekend, and I'm always doing dictation. That's why I've got this headset on. That's a style of writing I do. I find it's much easier than going it's it's just a thing. But exciting, I've got the cover reveal for Moonlight at Wailea. Came out very nice. Going to have the poster done pretty shortly. Let's see, let me make sure I can see that. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, yeah, that one turned out very well. So I'm very happy with that. And then the cover concept of Golden Dusk at Wailea, or Golden Dusk at Makena, which is a beach near Wailea, is here. Let's see if we can get this to come up. And there we go. This is actually closing in pretty darn well. I like that a lot. So, super exciting covers on my romance series. Thank you very much for watching. And I'm going to get my dictation started momentarily. Okay, make sure, hi Nancy, thank you very much for being on and subscribing. Alrighty. Good. Live streaming now. Okay. And I don't want to check my mail. Definitely not. Alright, so as I've told you before, I use my notes in iOS Notes, pretty low tech. And I also just use the voice recording app in my iPad here. Sometimes I use my phone, but that's it. Just super, super simple. And that's how I do it. And then I just take the dictation out of voice notes. Here, I'll pull out voice memos. There we go. And you can see all the chapters that I've worked on here. Pretty fun. And that's all I do. So I just dictate all my chapters, get them down, copy them into my writing software called Scrivener, and then I begin the editing process. Whew. Okay, so let me get my notes open here. All right, one moment. Photos, notes, voice memos. Okay, and I always dictate based on an outline. That's much easier for me. It's some people do what are called pantsers, where they just write from their head. I totally admire those people. I wish I could do that. But one of the funny things, I got this mug. Right, one more chapter, right? Let's see, was it? Yes, just one more chapter there. It's pretty funny. I love that mug. Shall we get on with it? Yes. So this is chapter 22, where Olivia comes to Dana and turns another screw into the poor woman, our FMC. Olivia is the matriarch of the story, and she's an antagonist, but she's a positive antagonist, as we will see later in the story. You'll have to read the book to find out more about Olivia. All right, here we go. Double checking. Perfect. Okay. Make sure my live stream's live. Let's do the recording. Okay. Golden Dusk at Makena, Chapter 22. Olivia turns another screw. As Dana was working the next day at the conference, Nolan was off filming some other staff members when Olivia came up to her early, unexpectedly early, and Olivia said, "Dana, can you walk with me for a minute?" Dana excused herself from her staff, and as they turned around, a few rolled their eyes and whispered, "Man, that woman is just absolutely demanding." As they walked away, Olivia turned and winked at them and pointed to her hearing, or to her ears, and said slightly out loud, I may be older, but I have good hearing, and yes, I am demanding." She laughed and then continued to walk with Dana. Dana saw the interaction and was about to go say something to her staff members and Olivia chased it with, "Don't worry. There's a reason I'm doing these things, and I understand why they can be frustrated, but you will see in due time." As they began walking down one of the hallways, Olivia just said, just continue walking with me. I don't want to be standing around anyone necessarily so people can't pick up our conversation. I've been watching you all week and you've done an incredible job. Honestly, better than I thought. With that, Dana looked at the ground or at the swirled marble floor as they walked along the hallways of the Grand Wailea Resort in between meeting rooms. As they walked along, they passed beautiful palm trees and the gentle breeze of the Hawaiian morning brought a little bit more humidity. Both women had already broken a tiny bit of a sweat. Even though the air conditioning had been running, it's just the humidity affected them. And as they went along, Olivia began explaining that, Dana, your job here has been absolutely incredible and you've been an excellent conference organizer, but I can see, even though this has been incredible, you're thinking too small. Dana wanted to stop and turn at the woman and just freeze the conversation right there. And as Dana began to pause, Olivia glanced back at her shoulder and waved at her and said, come on, I'm not beating you up just to beat you up. Keep coming. So Dana began walking and caught up to the older woman and said, what do you mean thinking too small? I mean, this is a huge event. I've put my heart and soul into this. Lucy's doing incredible with the venture capitalists. We're just about to finish our meetings and everything looks super good. And Olivia said, oh yeah, I know that. They've been keeping me updated and you ladies have been putting on an impressive show. But in order to get to the level you really want to get at, you're going to have to think bigger. Leaders ask better questions than they answer. Your goal is to coax solid answers out of your people and give them the vision for somewhere they want to go. Olivia continued explaining that the concept of leadership is abstract and you read a bunch of books, but when it all comes down to it, you have to be the one making sacrifices. And Olivia said, well, I've definitely, Dana said, I've definitely made some sacrifices, you have to admit. And the white-haired woman, or the silver-haired woman, nodded as she touched her cheek and rubbed it for a moment, and then said, you're right, you have made some sacrifices, but do you really want to get to this sort of level where, 20 or 30 years from now, you're talking to another young woman who's got the get up and go, and do you want to be in my position? Dana didn't hesitate and said, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely admire you. I'm not just trying to buff you up, but honestly, this work is incredible and I love it. And Olivia said, well, that's perfect because we're going to need you to expand your horizons today. Dana's shoulders sloped down a bit as her white blouse wrinkled at her back as she flexed her arm, and Olivia said, "Don't worry, this isn't to ruin you, but what we're going to do is we're going to need to have you host the Platinum Sponsor Session." Dana absolutely stopped in the hallway, and Olivia kept walking, as though Dana was supposed to just simply keep walking, and Olivia didn't stop. Dana stood there for a few moments looking at the hallway and thought she would just turn around, and then she realized, wait a minute, there's something going on here. Just keep your attitude in check. She hurried up in her low-rise pumps and clicked across the floor and almost slipped momentarily before she caught up with Olivia and asked, "What do you mean co-hosting the Platinum Sponsor Session? That's your session. You're supposed to do a Q&A with those two CEOs, the lady and the guy, right?" Olivia said, "Yes, I'm going to do that, but you're actually going to take the reins. This should actually be really fun." Dana said, Dana choked out, "Fun? you saw how stressed out I was on that stage, right? And Olivia said, oh, absolutely. I know you were stressed out. But this is how you're going to expand your horizon. Everybody respects you. You put on an excellent show. And your dancing number with Nolan, whew, boy. That, let's just say that got some attention, and people want to keep talking with you and seeing you. I don't even know what to ask. I mean, what do I even do? I mean, I've talked to some people, but I've never questioned them like I'm the queen or something. She started, her voice pitch began to rise, and finally Olivia stopped and turned, reached out and grabbed both shoulders. Hold on and take a breath. You're okay. I wouldn't ask you to do this if I knew you were going to fail. I don't like to look bad, and I'm not going to have somebody on stage fumbling. When you were on stage introducing people, you were sharp. You can do this. And in one of Olivia's hands, she had a sheet of paper that was pressed against Dana's shoulder. She released it and said, here's the question sheet that you're going to ask. It's all scripted. Everybody knows what they're going to say, but I want you to inject a little bit of personality into this. This is what you need. I know it's uncomfortable, but you can do it. Dana looked at the sheet and began shaking for a moment, and Olivia reached out and brushed her arm, helped her calm down, and said, this is going to be incredible. When you get through this, you'll see that it will change you. The same thing happened to me. Dana's eyes flew open. What do you mean to you? Oh, about 25 years ago, somebody did this to me, and it completely changed the course of my life. So, you've got about 2.5 hours to prepare, and I need to go talk to some other people, so why don't you go get with Nolan so we can get everything going, okay? And before Dana could raise an objection, Olivia simply turned and continued on, heading for a couple of people that she knew, and she waved. She left Dana standing there. Immediately, Dana pulled out her phone and instead of texting Nolan, punched dial, and she said, Nolan. As soon as he picked up, he didn't even let him say hello. He said, Nolan, holy crap, I got to be on stage in 2 hours. The disembodied voice came across, what? I thought you were just running things. And Dana said, no, Olivia's put me up to being one of the co-hosts of the Platinum Sponsor Panel. What do I do? Well, do you have questions? You know what to say? Yeah, Olivia gave them to me. I'm sure I could just read off the sheet so I don't bumble. But, this is crazy. Where are you? I'm in the main conference center. Do you want to meet? It's right next to the Platinum Room. Absolutely. In 4 minutes, Dana found herself walking right towards right towards Nolan, and visible sweat beads were beginning to form on her forehead. She paused for a moment and walked up to the man, and she leaned in to kiss him. She leaned so close she could have kissed him, and Nolan whispered under his breath, I want to kiss you, but not here. There's a lot of people around, and we don't want to make this awkward. She caught herself and then leaned back, and then her cheeks began to burn. He said, hey, you're sweating a bit. He pulled out a handkerchief and handed it to her so she could pat her forehead. What's wrong? This isn't bad. And Dana said, you know how much I hate the stage. But Nolan, are you sure I can do this? This is crazy. Nolan looked into her eyes, set his tripod down, reached out and grasped her shoulders firmly and began squeezing them and rubbing them gently, and said, you can do this. I've been watching you all week with filming and documentary, and I secretly watch more footage of you than anybody else when I'm in the editing bay, just to let you know. And she looked at him, well, I guess it's not a secret anymore. And Nolan twisted his jaw and his lips and said, okay, you got me. But that's not the point. Let's focus on the problem. You're going to host the Platinum session, and you'll do just fine. In fact, you've got about 2 hours, right? Okay, let's do some preparation questions, okay? They worked on that and walked into another room to talk about the questions. And then 2 hours later, Nolan looked down at his watch and said, Dana, we got to go. I mean, you got to be a host in like 10 minutes. She said, oh, crap. The two walked out of one of the green rooms that wasn't occupied and headed for the platinum room just as Olivia was walking in. And she glanced over and said, Dana, Nolan, good to see you. This is going to be exciting, isn't it? Dana's throat bobbed up and down as she swallowed several times. And the woman in the flower print blouse said, don't worry, we've got water up there. You won't choke. They walked up to the stage and got all set up, and the two executives were already there waiting, chit-chatting, and Olivia introduced Dana to them. They both stood up, the man and the woman. They both shook Dana's hand and congratulated her on how well the event was going. And they mentioned, oh, I didn't realize you were going to do part of the interview. Dana's eyes grew a bit big, and Olivia stepped in and said, yes, we're going to mix this up a bit so it's not just boring old me. All three of them laughed while Dana stood there, cracking a smile and trying her best. The cameras came on, and Nolan came around, and Olivia stood up, and once the room began filling right on time, she began announcing the executive names, what the presentation was about, a corporate dynamic shift in the environment. And then she mentioned, by the way, we've got Dana here who's put on this session. She's going to be co-hosting with me. And honestly, I'm a bit tired, so I'm going to have her do all the Q&A, and I'll just enjoy the experience. Everyone clapped in the audience, and a couple of whoops came across the room. And Olivia said, that's right, this is our own Dana who put this together. She sat down with a microphone and asked a few questions of the executives, and then looked over at Dana and coaxed her to follow. Dana held up the paper and then looked and immediately rattled off a question, a little bit unsure of herself, and the female executive began a long answer of what the question was. Dana wasn't completely sure what she was talking about, but it didn't matter. She was up there on stage with Nolan in the shadows filming, where she could see him nodding and giving her thumbs up and approving, while Olivia simply watched the event unfold. An hour later, everybody stood up and gave applause to everyone on the stage, and Olivia stood up and said, thank you very much, Dana. You've taken the load off me, and I really appreciate it. The applause continued, and then once it died down, everybody began milling around. A line formed to ask the executives questions, and Olivia and Dana and Nolan stepped off the stage. Okay, let's see how we did. Oh yeah. How many words did we get in? That is the big question here. So I'm going to open Scrivener and open my project for Golden Dusk at Makena, and we're working on chapter 22. I'll figure it out. Let's see, chapter 19, chapter 22, raw text. And I call things raw text because when I copy it out of the voice transcription in iOS, sometimes it's a bit messy. All right, here we go. Copy the text and then paste in. 2,244 words. Yes! I love it. That's exactly where I wanted to land. You can see the words right here. So literally, this is just the notes and recording app in the iPad. I mean, as low tech as you can get, but it does so well now. That's how I write my books. So there you go. That gives you an idea of what the next chapter is like. Olivia's turning the screws on Dana because she's adding pressure, and we're letting Nolan be in the wings to give Dana the spirit and encouragement to say, hey, you can do this. And this puts the big stress point on Dana because her biggest fear is inadequacy and preferring to be in the background while still having the brains and capability. And this is where Olivia really pushes her onto the stage because it's a live stream stage and surprise! And that's what stressed poor Dana out. So let's see. Oh, hi Melissa. Thank you very much for stopping by. Thank you. Ooh, oops, all caps. Don't want to yell it out. Thank you. Okay. So that was the next chapter in Golden Dusk at Makena. Sorry. It's funny when I do these dictation sessions, I kind of stumble around a bit. But the good thing is iOS Notes just like kind of ignores my ums and ers. It actually does really, really well. It's improved my writing performance a lot. Thank you very much for watching. Very soon I will have my poster for Grand Wailea, or the Moonlight at Wailea, whatever it's called. I can't even remember. Where is it? Oh, yes, Moonlight at Wailea. I'll have the poster out. I'm editing that ebook right now, and that will be available on my website, aaronbelsing.com, very soon, where you can download it. You just have to give me your email so you can join my mail list, and then you can join the email list and then find out what I'm doing when I'm working on my romances, because I work romances and cross that with thrillers as well. So I write in both genres. So you can find my thrillers at aaronrlinsdau.com. And then in the corner, I think, let's see, the corner right here, you can find a QR code to my, let's see, where is it link? Was it? Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, you can find a link to my, oh no, it's this hand. There we go. Right there. QR code. Yes, QR code right there. Or if you're watching on a TV, you can get a link to my website, aaronbelsing.com. It's funny, it's like reverse on the screen, but in any case, let's see, no. Oh, yeah, poor Nancy said, I could no way do what Dana had done to her. That's the whole point, is to put the screws into poor Dana and really ratchet up the tension in the book, but that also gives Nolan the chance to support Dana and develop their relationship even more to make things more interesting. Thank you very much for watching. This was live stream number 12 of Write With Me. I guess it's hashtag Write With Me. Please stop by again. I will have another live stream session soon where you can listen to me continue to develop this novel. I will hopefully be done in a week and a half, and on to the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe.